Hi guys and welcome back to Karting with Sean. Today we are back at TeamSport Coventry for 3 public sessions. These next 2 sessions are full of highs and lows, so without further ado, let's get straight into the action. After a quick light test, the lights go green and let's go racing. And for this session I was in kart number 13. And I don't know what was up with this kart, but on my outlap I could tell something was not right. I mean, just give it a listen. Now I don't know if you heard that, but this engine is squeaking a lot, and I don't mean the tyres, genuinely the engine was squeaking. And even with this strange car, I still get a nice move around the outside for my first overtake of these sessions. At this point I actually haven't driven around TeamSport Coventry in about a month or 2, so where I felt the car was slow, I originally thought it was just me being a bit rusty. But I now come up to a pile of 3, that 18 had to absolutely slam on his brakes to avoid a crash, and I get let through the hairpins, and that's overtake number 2. Now I managed to keep up with these 2 cars in front at the start of the second lap, and as we're about to see, I'm going to make up a lot of time through these 2 fighting, even though I am in a slower car. And as their fight continues and the driver in front gets sent sideways, I gain so much time on this downhill, and I am now right up the end of that number 18 car. But not too shortly after, we're showing the first red flag of the session. Now that puts that fight on hold, and number 18 obviously didn't see the flag, but goes straight through. Don't know how you didn't see it, because it's right as you come out the exit of the corner, but oh well. Now there's a reason that the kart 18 actually wakes for me, it's because before the session we were actually talking to each other, and we both only got into go-karting fairly recently. I've only been doing it for about a year and he said roughly the same. So Carter, if you do see this mate, it was a pleasure speaking to you and you are a very good racer, and I hope to see you again on track in the future. But once again, because I'm in the slow car, he does absolutely manage to fly away. And I promise I'm not just making excuses here, the car was slow, as you'll see by my lap time at the end of the session. Now at this point I've had about a lap of clean air on me, mainly because Carter's flew off and I don't know where the person behind me is, but there's another red flag, so we come to a stop. Now I've actually never been stopped at this part on the track before, so I've never actually noticed that you're able to see the bottom section of the track, which in my opinion is quite cool. But as we get back up to racing speed, have another listen to this engine. Now if you didn't hear the tick in there, then you need to get your hearing sorted, because that, I don't know what it is, but I'm fairly certain that's why I was going so slow. I mean, I'm fairly certain those karts are not meant to sound like that, but I guess we'll just carry on as we were. Now a lap later, we've caught up to kart number 10. He goes extremely deep into this hairpin and I give him a bit of contact, which absolutely ruins my momentum, but I managed to get past him in time. Now for the next few laps, I have no one in front of me, so let's skip forward to where some action is. And well, here it is a few laps later. Did not expect to see someone facing the other way there, but that calls for a quick yellow so the marshal can sort them out. A few laps after them yellows and I managed to catch up to kart number 10. So let me talk you through how I planned this overtake. At this point I see that they've messed up their exit to this corner and allowed me to get right up to their bumper, so I go around the outside and the outside here as well, and allowing me to go for a nice easy switchback as they go wide on exit. Now after a whole 3 minutes of having no one in front of me, I come back once again on kart number 10, but just as I see him, the checkered flag gets waved. And that is the end of the first session. Now obviously I was not a big fan of this car. My personal best around this track is a 42.8, but in this session the quickest time I managed was a 46.6. That's just under 4 seconds off the pace. I have no clue what was wrong with it, but I hope I do not get it again anytime soon. But anyway, let's hope I get a better kart for my next session. Now for this session, I believe I was in kart number 15, and you can probably already hear this already sounds a lot better. So let's hope I can actually put in some decent lap times this session. Now after a very short light test, we are straight to green flags, and then we're back to reds. Now I actually caused this red flag, and here's why.
Straight through or take a break in between?
I'll do 30 minutes straight.
Yeah, so.
Now you might be a bit confused of why that marshal was asking me if I wanted to do half an hour straight. And that was because when I arrived at TeamSport, they told me it was quite quiet today, so I actually booked an extra session, and that was a session on my own. The third and final session is a solo session. But as the footage is just me hot lapping around the track, I'm going to upload it as its own video, and with no commentary, no editing, no nothing, just straight up racing hot laps around this circuit. So please check that video out after this one. Well, saying that I think I caused the red flags, I've just seen this up ahead. There was actually someone in the barrier, so maybe it wasn't me that caused the reds, but let's go back to racing. Well, the kid that crashed was, well, as I just said, a kid, so I do feel quite bad for overtaking him, because obviously they're not as experienced as I am. But he takes a very shallow entry into this corner, and I go for a switchback with a bit of contact. I'm very sorry, little man. But either way, game's a game, and I get the overtake then. And I'm very lucky that I did the overtake then, because there is more yellow flags. But in all honesty, fair play to the marshals, because it was a very short section of yellow flags. And we're back to racing speed. Now after even more boring laps of clean air and no content, we get more yellow flags for this kid who's spun on the apex here. I'm not sure how you do that, because that corner is flat out. Maybe he didn't know that and he tapped the brakes a bit while turning, but hey, there's always a lesson. Now here's another opportunity to get another overtake done. He goes very deep into the hairpin. I look for the switchback, but he actually covers it fairly well and makes me lose momentum. Third time quicker on the throttle and I get the overtake done. Now here's a driver I haven't seen for a while. I believe this is Carter. He lets me drive past so we can have a good battle, and this is where this session gets interesting. Well, I say this is where it gets interesting. It starts off pretty boring for the first few laps, but then we come into this absolute pile up of carts here. Yeah, I'll just drive through that, thanks. Back to green flags now, and I know you can't see it on camera, but Carter is right behind me, and this is where our battle gets interesting, so I'll let you just watch it. Now coming out of this corner, I get a horrible exit and give the wall a little tap. Check my shoulder, see that Carter's there, and I take the defensive line to keep my position. Can't really see him there, but he is right next to me. But I managed, oh, there he is, yeah, you see him there. I managed to keep my position through this section. And I'll tell you what, thank God I was in a better kart for this session, because this battle was fun. Coming up to this flat section of the track, I did not expect him to stick his nose up the inside there. Completely fair play to him. We ended up going side by side to this downhill, and we both mess up our exit here, but I managed to get the better of it and keep the position. Now I'd say this next one here a lot shallower than I normally do. And that's because I can get right up on the defensive line, because I know he is coming at me in this corner. Now, as you're about to see, that back marker that I just passed does hold him up, unfortunately, so that is the end of our battle. But what can I say? He put a lot of pressure on me and I somehow managed to keep that position. So a few laps after our battle ended, we were called into the pits, and this leads me on to my third and final session, but as I mentioned, that will be its own video, so make sure you check it out. So at the end of the second session, I ended at P3 with a time of 43.8. Still not as quick as I'd like to be, but a heck of a lot quicker than car 13. At this point, I'd like to say thank you to Carter for making this session so enjoyable. Hope to see you again soon. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.